Alright guys, so today we're going to take a look at the brand new Sudio N2 and the N2 Pro. Now, in my opinion, I think these are direct competitors to the AirPods and the AirPods Pro. And price-wise, the N2 comes in at $59, where the Pro comes in at $79. And if you're not familiar with Sudio, they are a Swedish company. You can tell that they put a lot of time into making sure each design has this very simple and clean look. And out of their earbuds that I've tested in the past, I've also been very happy with the audio quality. So I was very intrigued to check these out. But both of these, even though one is a regular one and one is a Pro, they are very similar in a lot of ways. Now, as far as the options, each one of these are available in 4 different colors. There's no app support, which is kind of surprising considering one is called Pro. Any earbud that I see the name Pro next to, I really do expect to kind of have app support, just so that you get a lot more features. You have the ability to keep them updated, and that way you make sure you're getting the most out of that Pro version. But there's no app support, sadly. But one of the things that is different between both is the Pro version has active noise canceling. And I want to go ahead and say this right out of the gate. The ANC is non-existent. Like, it doesn't really block out anything any differently than when the ANC is turned off. The only thing that the noise canceling affects is the battery life, which we'll talk about that once we get to the battery life. Now, the things that are similar between both of these is both use Bluetooth 5.3, both only has SBC playback, which means there's no high-end Bluetooth codecs here. It is the standard Bluetooth codec, but luckily I didn't notice any kind of compression, and because these had Bluetooth 5.3, both of these earbuds were good with different types of media. I didn't have any kind of lag with movies or videos, and both of them had a slight lag when it came to gaming. One huge plus about both of these is both pairs have multi-point connection, so you can be connected to more than one device at a time. This comes in handy if you're watching a movie on your tablet or laptop. Somebody calls in, you can just switch over, take the call without having to go in and like jump through hoops to disconnect from one device to connect to another. Now, both of these have an IPX4 rating, which I also found to be kind of interesting because the non-Pro version should have had a slightly higher IP rating, because I do understand pairs that have noise canceling usually have IPX4, and that's so that it doesn't affect the microphones. So both of these are going to be fine, you know, for light splashes and rain and sweat and things like that, but definitely do not submerge either one of these into water. Now, another huge plus is they both support Qi wireless charging. Although both of them do come with a USB-C cable, you can sit either one of these on a wireless charger and it will start charging that way. And speaking of the charging, battery life is okay. On both of them, again, it's the exact same numbers. You can get 6 hours on the earbuds themselves with about 30 hours using the case. But the Pro model, if you're going to have the ANC turned on, which again, I don't understand why you would, you're only going to get 4 hours and 20 minutes out of the earbuds and about 20 hours and 20 minutes out of the case. That's very specific, but that's the numbers for when the ANC is turned on. But luckily, both of these do have the same fast charge feature, where a 10-minute charge will get you about an hour and a half worth of use. Now, another thing is, if you're only going to use one earbud at a time, they both switch into mono mode, which means you're getting all of that audio out of one earbud instead of just getting the sound out of the right earbud that would only be playing in the right and the sound out of the left that would just be playing out of the left. But when you're using both, it does split up into stereo mode. And as far as the case and the earbuds on both of these, they both again look very similar. Now, the Pro is slightly bigger when it comes to the case, and it's also slightly bigger when it comes to the earbuds. But both of these have your USB-C connection on the right side. They both have a pairing button located on the bottom, and then they both also have a single indicator light located right underneath the Sudio brand on the front of the case. But when you open up the lid and you pull out the earbuds, both of them look very similar. They are the stem style design, but both of these are using the longer stem. That's not like AirPods where you have the AirPods Pro with the shorter stem. Both of these have touch controls, but I am happy to say that both of these give you control over everything. So you have your play, pause, your ability to skip your tracks forward, go backwards, you have your volume control, and then on the Pro version, you have your ability to turn your noise canceling on or off. But again, I'm not really sure why you would use the noise canceling on the Pro model. Now, one of the biggest differences is obviously the Pro version comes with silicone ear tips. In fact, you're getting 4 sets of ear tips out of the box, where the regular version actually just comes with this silicone grip. And I do like the fact that it comes with this grip because it allows these to keep from moving in your ears, and it causes them to have more stability than a regular pair of AirPods. Now, if you are going to use either one of these for taking phone calls, they use the exact same mic system where there are 2 mics located on each earbud. So there's 4 microphones total. And I think the mics on here are doing a pretty decent job of picking up my voice and blocking out a lot of the sounds around me. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
So here is the mic test using the Sudio N2s, and I think overall they sound okay. It does sound a little bit boomy and artificial, but this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here's the mic test for the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public.
So now let's talk about the sound. And the sound on both of these are completely different from one another. And that again comes back to the design, because the Pro version having the silicone ear tips, it's causing you to have a better seal, but it's also causing you to be able to hear and feel a lot more bass. In fact, the Pro version, in my opinion, is a little too bass heavy. Now, I normally don't say that because I am a bass head. I like to feel the impact of bass. I like for it to be kind of overwhelming at times. But that's usually fine if you have a treble that is bright enough to kind of counteract with that, and you have mids pushed forward enough so that the bass isn't just drowning everything out. And in my opinion, that's kind of what's going on with the Pros. I feel like the mids are not pushed forward enough. The treble does have a little bit of brightness, but that bass is so boomy and it kind of makes the sound overall pretty warm that it dulls things out depending on what you're listening to. In fact, metal, you can just kind of forget it. You lose a lot of your details, where the N2s, the non-Pro version, actually focuses a lot more on the treble. And maybe that's just because you can't get as much out of the low end. Now, the silicone grip, if you do push the earbuds where it kind of seals it a little bit, that definitely bumps up the low end. But there's still a lot more focus on the treble here. So this is a brighter sounding pair. But still at times, even with this pair, the mids aren't as detailed as I like. It just seems like vocalists are kind of lost in the mix. And that's sometimes even with simpler genres, even with things like country or easy listening, where it's not as demanding on the low end. It seems as though both pairs could have used to have a boost in the mids, but with these not having app support, you can't do that without having to download a third-party app. And I don't necessarily like to do that because third-party apps, sometimes it doesn't carry over if you go from your phone to your laptop or to your tablet. You're having to always change things. So again, this is an area that I think they could have focused more on. And another issue is the soundstage and the sound imaging. Because the Pro version has such a punchy low end and kind of overwhelming, it doesn't sound as open. It sounds a lot more closed in, like you have 2 large speakers in front of you. But luckily, you can still tell where sounds are coming from. But the regular version, even with it being an open-eared style design earbud, doesn't have that openness like I'm used to with AirPods or other earbuds that have that same type of design. So my overall opinion is this. I think they missed on their potential. Obviously, the look is clean, it's simple. I love the matte finish. It just screams quality when it comes to the design. But with not having app support and not being able to EQ these and having the sound that they do, there's not enough here to really solidify a purchase. I again focus on sound before I do any other type of features, although this pair does have Qi wireless charging and it has multi-point connection, it has a fast charge feature, it has decent microphones. It's still not enough, in my opinion, to warrant a purchase considering the sound is lacking when we have some really good options in this same price range. So Sudio as a company, I have enjoyed a lot of their products in the past. In fact, they do have an app to work with some of their earbuds, but this lineup hasn't really grabbed me. And I think that's because it's lacking in the details, especially when it comes to the audio quality. Because it doesn't work with an app, there's not really anything that they can do to update these in the future. But that wraps up my video on both the Sudio N2 and the Sudio N2 Pro. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.